Have you heard what the CEOs, the billionaires, the top investment advisors in the world, have you heard what they're saying about the economy? Look, we're ready for $3,000 gold, $85 silver. That'll make us real happy. We know inflation is out of control. Have you been to the grocery store, the gas station, or tried to rent an apartment or buy a house? But what about the economy? How is it doing? Well, are you ready for some gloom and doom? Because we've got some important, interesting points to cover. Things said by 6 of the top billionaires, CEOs, and investment advisors that paint a pretty gloomy picture for the future of the United States economy. Let's get started right now. You know, if I had the option to have one of these fancy billionaires here in the basement, you know what I'd say? I'd say no. I'd rather have you. When I walk down those steps, you are who I'm thinking about. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate your time, your input, everything else. There is no Ron's Basement without you or my loyal subscriber, Ed B. If you'd like me to mention you in a video, send me an email. The address is in the description of all the videos. And if you want to subscribe, you can do that right here. You can subject yourself to further torture. Now let's get on to talking about these billionaires. Since they're not here in the basement, what are they saying about the economy? The first one we'll talk about is Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. He warned a recession is looming and Americans should prepare for the worst. Now, I know he's no longer heading up Amazon, but you know he still has his finger on the pulse of the U.S. economy. And when Jeff Bezos, one of the richest men in the world, is warning about an impending recession, we better perk up. And what about that fine chap Elon Musk? You know, the guy that founded Tesla. Love him or hate him, I think most people recognize that Elon is a smart guy. He says he's bracing for a painful U.S. recession and fears the Fed's interest rate hikes will worsen the downturn. Musk has endorsed Cathie Wood and Jeremy Siegel's criticism of the Fed's interest rate hike. So he's not real happy with the Fed and how aggressively they're hiking interest rates. And what about Ken Griffin? He's that billionaire from Chicago who founded Citadel Investments. He says inflation has peaked, a recession is coming, and the FTX fiasco has shaken faith in the markets. Citadel's billionaire CEO expects about 4.5% unemployment and a recession next year. Do you like Carl Icahn? I can tell you, I grew up in St. Louis, and people in St. Louis used to really dislike Carl Icahn because he took over TWA. Remember Trans World Airlines? You may be old enough to remember that. Well, Carl, despite the fact that he's generally disliked in St. Louis, says that stocks will plunge, inflation will persist, and the U.S. economy will feel more pain. Whenever you have higher interest rates that have moved as they have here, you have an inverted yield curve. Treasuries at close to a 5% yield. You are going to have a recession. And I think we do have a recession already. Just 2 more to go, and next we're going to talk about our friends at Goldman Sachs. I'm sure you love Goldman Sachs as much as I do. Their CEO, David Solomon, warns a U.S. recession is very likely and says the Fed could hike rates above 4.5%. The first big shift in monetary policy for 4 decades was bound to be disruptive. And what do you think of Bridgewater Capital? You know, the biggest hedge fund in the world. Greg Jensen, he's the co-chief investor officer, says he is bracing for a much worse recession than markets expect. Ray Dalio's protege, that would be Greg, warns that stocks could plunge another 20% and markets aren't pricing in the painful recession ahead. Have you noticed a common theme in everything that all 6 of those people are saying? We've got the richest guys in the world. We have the CEOs of the major financial companies. We have leaders from the top hedge funds all saying that we're basically either in or heading toward a recession. Now, you might be staring at your screen right now thinking, well, yeah, Ron, but what does that mean for gold? Well, I'm going to tell you that means gold and silver are either going to go up or they're going to go down. I think they're going to go up because, as I said at the beginning of the video, if we have a recession and persistent inflation, that's stagflation. Open your history books, go back to the 1970s, early 80s. Stagflation is awesome. It's gunpowder for the price of silver and gold. And furthermore, if we have this recession and the persistent inflation, the market will lose confidence in the Federal Reserve's ability to actually fight inflation. I don't think they really want to fight inflation anyway, but that's a subject for another video. But when the market realizes the Fed is going to be unsuccessful at fighting inflation because they can't fight a recession and inflation at the same time, that's why stagflation is such fertile ground for the price of gold and silver. Again, when the herd realizes what we're already realizing, that's when the price of gold and silver could. Remember, I don't have a crystal ball or crystal balls for that matter, so I can't predict the future, but I strongly believe that when that happens, the price of gold and silver will go higher. It'll be a fun day. We will have earned our reward for spending all this time in the basement together. We'll have a big party. We might even do a little remodeling. Until next time, I want you to take care of yourself, and I'll see you soon.